So first order of business on this fly tying video is that we have not yet named this fly. So we're going to need your help naming it. If you're watching this on Instagram, the way to do that is going to be to drop into the comments below the video here and suggest a name. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can also comment on YouTube, but you might get a little bit better response from us if you comment on Instagram. So send it on over to Instagram, comment on the video, let us know what you want us to name this fly. If we decide on your name, we're going to send you some stuff. We're going to send you a watershed hat, we're going to send you one of these, a couple stickers. We might throw some other stuff in there, but that's what we've decided on so far. So you're going to want to suggest a name. Doesn't matter how cool it is or how dumb it is. There's some really cool fly names out there. There's some really dumb fly names out there. So you really can't mess it up. Alright, let's get down to it. Starting out, Pro Sport Fisher, FlexiTube 4040. What's nice about these is they've already got this hook guide on them, so we don't have to do anything with that. You can just throw a hook right in, get fishing. Starting out, as always, Vivus 50 denier, best thread out there. You should use it for all of your streamer tying and eventually all of your fly tying. So this bug is going to end up as kind of a hybrid bug, right? It started out as more of a low water natural winter steelhead bug, but as we started messing with it and looking at it, it's also going to make one kickin' cool trout spay bug. So just keep that in mind. We're definitely going to be using this fly. We're going to be tying this fly here in the shop in a bunch of colors, and so we're going to have it for all of your trout and steelhead needs. But this one that we're doing for the video is going to be a little bit more trout oriented. It's going to be that kind of olive, copper, red, black, sculpin-y flavor. Now don't get me wrong, steelhead will absolutely eat this color, especially summers and late winters. So if you guys plan on doing some winter fishing, oh nice. If you guys plan on doing some winter fishing early into the spring, you should definitely be throwing something in this here color. Let's see if I can do this without messing it up. Perfect. All right. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. That was the mini fly flat braid, copper melon. Good stuff. Makes for a sweet little body, super easy to tie in. All right, next up, we're gonna do a little dubbing ball. I'm just using red semi-seal. I think this is. You can use red eye stub. You can use pretty much whatever you want. It's just gonna be a little bump right on the top of the body here. And that is going to start building up a little bit more of our bulk here on this fly, giving it a little more profile. There you go. Up next, we are doing some copper UV polar chenille. This stuff, if you do not use it or have not used it, you absolutely should. It brings a lot of life into a lot of different flies. It really does. Just a couple turns of this. This is going to be our flash in this fly. So depending on how flashy you like your flies, you can either kind of pile it up or just do a couple turns like what I'm doing. Completely up to you and what you want this bug to look like in the water. This well, all of the polar chenilles really pop once you get them in the water. They look great on the fly when it's dry. Once you get them in the water, it's a whole different world. Pretty crazy. All right. So since we're doing a little bit more of a sculpin-y color on this one, I'm going to throw in some red silver pheasant as kind of a gill flare. Now, if we're doing this in steelhead colors, purples and pinks and blues and blacks, you certainly don't have to do a gill flare. But I would suggest that you put something in here to separate that polar chenille from your ostrich, which we're going to be putting in a second. So you'll see here that I stripped one side of this. I don't want it crazy thick and I don't want it to stand up crazy tall. So we're just going to use the one side, lay it down nice and gentle like that. There you go. So up next, this is one of probably my favorite parts about this fly, is that you get to use materials that you normally wouldn't use, right? So for example, we're going to put in little peck fins here, just little stacks of ostrich out the sides, but you don't need to use your long good stuff like you got up top. You can just use your little shorties, which usually end up going to waste. So it's nice getting to put those on a fly. Trim those out. They don't have to be perfectly lined up. I actually like them just a little bit uneven. We're going to throw them back to about halfway down that hook guide, maybe to the back of the hook guide. And that's just a good kind of reference point for where some of your material should go to. Because you don't want them way too long, because then they'll blend with the wing, and you don't want them way too short, because then they'll get covered up by the collar that we're going to put on here. Let's see, you got to do the other side here. Perfect. So now we've got our two sides. We've got our flash in the middle, a little bit of a bump, gill flare. I don't like that guy. Now what we're going to do is throw some ostrich up over the top as a wing. So traditionally, in these kind of olive sculpin-y colored flies, you'll see people use rabbit over the top, which I do like, but we were going for a real easy casting bug this time around. And so what we're going to do is stack up some olive ostrich, mix some black in there. I'm using pretty darn low quality ostrich. You don't have to use good stuff. If you're using really nice fine stuff, you just have to use more of it. So if you do have any junky ostrich laying around, this is a great pattern to use it on. Alright, so we're going to line that up so there's a little bit of a taper to it, but not a whole lot. And that one's going to go about an inch to an inch and a half past your hook guide. Now this is going to be the real kind of shake and shimmy in this fly, is this ostrich hanging out the back. Let's see if we can get that to lay down a little bit better. Let's see, I just want to get those fibers to curl all kind of the same direction so that we can lay them down over the fly, as opposed to how I put it in last time. There we go. I like that better. Alright, now that we've got all of our ostrich tied down, we're going to leave a little bit of a gap here. Throw in our lead eyes. We're just using medium black heavy lead from Hairline. Doesn't matter if you like the painted eyes better, throw them on there. You can also do this with a bead or a cone. I think I'm going to do some with tungsten cones for my personal use, because I just can't get enough tungsten. Perfect. All right. Now that we've got that wing set in there, we are going to put in some little saddle hackle horns. On this one, I'm putting in red. Just feels right. Strip these down a little bit more. This guy. I want these horns just a little bit shorter than my wing. Sweet. So up next, we're going to be using a kind of cool new tool that we haven't played with yet on film. This is the Umpqua River Grip Dubbing Loop Tweezer. This thing's sweet. We really like it. Super easy to do hard stuff like rabbit hair in a dubbing loop. It's never fun, but tool makes it a little easier. So we are going to collar this whole thing with a collar of rabbit. And we're going to start with a pretty good sized loop. Not a huge one. Let's see, we've got our there we go. Key to spinning good loops of rabbit is going through and picking everything out when you're done. Yeah. Otherwise you get a lot of fibers that get trapped down inside of there. Sweet. All right, now we're just going to wrap this, and the trick with rabbit is just to pull back as you wrap. so that all your fibers are going in generally the same direction. Pull everything back. Tie that off good and tight. And then we're going to go through and pick it out one more time just to get everything nice and lined up, nice and straight. Alright, let's go ahead and whip finish this real fast. Of course, that's the one tool that I can never keep track of. There we go. A little bit tough. This is why extended whip finishers for guys who tie tubes are a must-have. Take that off of there. Pop the tube off. Trim it down. Now when you don't have a bead or anything that you need to keep on here, you don't have to burn it. I like to just give it a little touch-up. It likes to finish it off a little bit better and keep that thread from rolling off the front. Now, another little finishing touch that you certainly do not have to do is throwing a little bit fun barring on the rabbit here in the front. I'm not going to tell you that this makes any difference, because I don't think it does, but it sure looks cool. That's what we're all about. So there you go. There is the fly. Once again, we do not have a name for this little guy, but throw a comment down either on YouTube or on Instagram with the best name that you can come up with, and if we pick your name, we'll send you a box of good stuff. If you've got any questions about this, feel free to reach out to us either through the comments, through direct message on Instagram, through email, or over the phone. Or just come into the shop. We'd love to talk to you, and we'd love to help you out with tying this fly and whatever else you're working on this rainy season. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Tie some flies and get ready for when the water comes down.